Hello YouTube, Salivate Metal here. Chinese gold. Where are they getting it? And what about the demand for gold that can't be met? Is the title of this article here. And it talks about how there's not enough gold in China to go around. And that's a problem we don't have here in the United States or many Western nations. See, there's a difference between the East and the West in terms of culture and what's valued. And it seems like here in the United States and many Western nations, we have what's known, I like to affectionately call the microwave culture, where everything is instantaneous. Everybody's in a hurry, and we don't look past the headlines from one day to the next, and it's old news. You know, somebody gets caught, and it's major news, and the next day you forget what happened because some other headline has come up. We live from one Facebook post to the next. We are a social media culture where we are literally saturated with information, and our money is on our credit cards, and it's digitized, and we just click a button and we can make a purchase. And it's just, you know, it's that kind of instantaneous society, whereas in the East, there is that technology, but I think that it's more of a generational thing. And they have valued gold in Middle Eastern countries and Eastern countries. All of Asia has certainly has more of a value of gold. And it's quite fascinating indeed to see those different kind of cultures. And so that leads us to this particular article that talks about the people wanting to get gold in China. And there's said that he's seen estimates out of China that over 375 million Chinese want to buy gold, but they can't. So that's more than the whole population of the United States that live in the remote interior of the country. So that's the more rural areas. So 375 million rural Chinese don't have access to the gold markets. And even if they did have access to them, there's not enough gold. And the man explained that any Chinese with means and access is buying gold, and that there's 10 separate account holding customers just for gold. And so that's quite interesting indeed. And it goes on to talk about the different producers of gold. You have Barrick Gold is the most, and it's a quite interesting article here. It talks about the differences between the West, and this talks about gold between the lines. And in the West, we've grown up in a world where the U.S. and the dollar reign supreme. Every currency moves up and down here and there from time to time, but it's difficult for us to imagine anything much different than a world in which the U.S. dollar sets the pace. It's hard for us to imagine a massive political upset that changes our way of life too much. But if you look briefly at Chinese history, we'll see that they haven't had a chance to grow complacent with the status quo. We don't have to go back to ancient times to see the political upsets, famine, and fear. And so they prepare. You know, the former U.S. Mint Director, Edmund Moy's mother, she wore her wealth as jewelry on her wrist and around her neck. And it was gold, generational wealth that they pass on because gold is valued. So quite interesting indeed, and we can see here the different, how much gold China is getting, how much they've accumulated, and quite a vast increase from the beginning of January to the middle of July here, moving up and then increasing to what it is today here, how much gold they've accumulated. Interesting indeed. 1,842.56 tons in the fourth quarter of 2016. Very interesting. And then we can see here that where it's coming from, imports, and with the previous and what they've done, the highest was 1,830 tons. And here's where they stand in the world of the reserves. They're moving on up. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth holder of world gold reserves. China is. And we can see we're still at the top, which is nice, but it's basically mostly within the government hands. Obviously, well, all of these are, but nonetheless, we do have a buffer there. We're obviously number one still, but China is catching up, indeed. But where are they getting it from? Well, here's the kicker of the story. North Korea is stockpiling their weaponry and paying for the military. And how are they doing it? While many in the impoverished have the impression of North Korea being a poor country that can't feed its own people, Leonid Petrov told News.com.au that it had large stockpiles of natural resources that it used to fund its weapon search. North Korea is a mountainous country that has huge natural resources, including deposits of high-quality coal, gold, silver, uranium, iron ore, and rare earth metals. In other words, the platinum metals group, said Dr. Petrov, a visiting fellow at the Australian National University of College, Asia and the Pacific. He said North Korea had exported its minerals to allies such as China and the Soviet Union for decades until the collapse of the communist bloc. Since then, it has been more proactive in international trade, although the tightening of sanctions has seen its exportability curtailed recently. So apparently there's a wealth of resources, natural resources, including gold, and there in the country, silver and gold and platinum metals groups there in North Korea. And China wants their hands on it, so they probably have an agreement with the DPRK to acquire those metals, and quite interesting indeed. So there's how essentially how China, one way China is getting their gold, and how North Korea is continually being propped up. We don't know those numbers. I've not seen any numbers that show how much gold is coming from North Korea or silver. But nonetheless, it looks like that China doesn't want to lose that resource and doesn't want to rock the boat. But nonetheless, with the latest deal with the Trump administration, everything is on the table. We've sent a lot of carrier groups, and our Navy is building up around that area there. And so it's anybody's guess to see what will happen, and what will happen to their natural resources and their gold mining there in North Korea. Very interesting indeed. So post your thoughts below about China and their gold situation, and what are your thoughts about them getting some of it from North Korea. I'd like to extend the multitude of gratitude you all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.